Hi guys and welcome back to Christian Cast where I build bait so you don't have to. Today I've got something really excited for you guys. We'll straight away go into a action video of my new swim bait. It's the new updated version and I'll straight away put you guys there. I tested it in a pond, so check it out.
I am actually really excited to show you this because I was really happy with the action as is because it was the best I have managed until now.
So hi, now you saw the action. I am really happy with it. It is a lot better than the first variants that I did, and we're going to be doing two prototypes on that lure. I'm going to be clear coating it once with a UV resin, and then we'll also be trying a polyurethane gloss varnish from Valero. Today we're going to be doing the UV version of this bait. We'll see if there is too much buildup and how the action changes after airbrushing and everything. So that's going to be today's focus. We're going to be doing a very easy paint scheme, playing around with some greens. I'm going to be using the mossy green tail, and I'll straight away put you guys on the desk, and then we'll get started with grounding our bait and doing everything. And I'll also be going out to the pond again, and we'll try and get some action footage of the lure once it's finished. So if you're interested to see how it compares to the video at the beginning that I showed you guys, stick around and I'll see what changes and how well the bait actually works after it. So let's head over to the desk. So welcome to the desk, and now the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to still be shortening this pin a little bit, is we're going to take apart our lure and just make sure that we are ready for grounding. So I will place my holding helpers right here without getting my glove on, and we'll straight away start grounding with some classic white. And everybody who has been following me knows that this is the first step we use on all our baits. So that's going to be the head. We'll be doing this twice, that we really cover up the lead hole and everything where I added the weight. And now I'll go over to the tail, make sure we get into where we have got our fins and everything, and just cover up the entire thing. So that's going to be the white coats for us. I will still go over it a second time before adding some color, but I'll spare you from that and I'll get you guys back once I add the first ground color. That is going to be a little bit brighter. I might also be trying something with a comb today, so we'll see what this paint scheme turns out to be. I have no idea. The next color we're going to be using is some dark ochre. So a brownish fox tone, and we're just going to go over and really take a broadside towards the belly and just go ahead and darken everything down. Sorry about that, I was gone shortly because a reminder popped up and it stopped recording, but I straight away stopped airbrushing because I want to take you guys with on the whole build. So that is going to be the first half. Now we will do this with the tail as well. I'll quickly check how far it goes down. So it's going to be quite far down towards the tail. The joint isn't going to be too important for the build today. because I don't want a lot of color buildup in it. So I'll try and minimize the color and also the clear coat that I get into the joint, that will keep the action as it was and very freely moving. So now I'll let this dry and get you guys back for the next step. So the next step is going to be adding some bright yellow. As I said, I have really no idea what I'm doing for a paint scheme today. So I'll just go ahead and add a little bit of yellow along the bottom side where we ended with the brown. So we'll leave it at that. I'm going to still add a little bit of orange as well above the yellow line in the following step. But now we'll first do our belly. So I'll leave it at that. We don't want it to be too bright, but I'm actually quite enjoying how that looks. So now I'll be adding some orange, and then we'll see how that blends in. So the orange is in, and we'll grab our tail and just make sure to add it like that. So that is going to be the orange till one of the end steps, because I'm going to be doing a little bit of a orange belly towards the top and the tail, but you'll anyway see that if you follow along. In the next step, we're going to be building up on top of the orange with a little bit of gold to give it a little bit of a shine before darkening towards the spine with some bronze. So we'll straight away grab our head and just blend those two in a little bit. We won't be worrying about the top too much, because we anyway begin going over with a darker color and clean up everything once I also tried that with the comb. So now we'll grab our tail. We don't want to add too much that the colors that we added before go under. Now I'm just going to spray this a little bit less and add some bronze to darken it down and tone down towards the top of the spine before adding the comb. So we'll see what that actually turns out to be. We have got our bronze gold mix in, and now we'll just go ahead and darken down, as I said, towards the top. So now we've got that done. Now I'm going to go ahead, let this dry very well, and then we're going to be adding some black lines down like that along our bait. So I'll see how that goes. I've never tried that with the comb. I saw it and I thought, let's give it a try, maybe on one of the prototypes to see how it actually looks. And yeah, we'll try something new. So let's try this. We're gonna go ahead, take our comb, place it about like this, and then just go ahead and like that. I'll do that on our tail as well. That's going to be more interesting because we're gonna have to try, and it's got a lot of curves, so that doesn't come out that well, but I'll try and also go like that. So there we go. Now I see it a little bit. It's a bit harder than I thought because it is quite stiff and I don't want to press it too much on, and that's why we're just going to leave that, and I'll do it on the other side as well before darkening the spine and going over to the belly with all the other added things. So yeah, let's see what this turns out to be. So one of the last steps before going over to the belly is going to be darkening the spine with some olive green. So we'll straight away start. I actually made a mistake. I had some water in still, so I'll be cleaning this off. And now we'll make sure that it sprays properly and start. So that's going to be the first layer. I'm still going to clean up these edges a little bit, but nothing too crazy. And then we'll head over to the tail part and do exactly the same. Right, I have to clean a little bit on the airbrush. Something is giving me some hassles, but I'll go over the tail, and then once I start on the belly I'll get you guys back because I don't want to drag it out too long, and I'll just go over the spine, blend it in a little bit into the color underneath, and then we'll get back when we start the belly. So now that we have got that done, we're gonna go over, and I readjusted where I hold the bait, and we're just gonna whiten the belly a little bit with some pearly white. So that's gonna be the pearly white belly for us on the head. And now I'll do the same for the tail. That was a little bit of a mistake. Not too sure how I can fix that properly. I might wipe it down a little bit and I'll do that. That's a little bit of a fail. I also covered up a bit of the side, but we'll see if we are able to fix that. So now, because we are not too happy with how the tail turned out and everything, we're actually going to go over with some orange and really just cover up all the... I first just wanted to do a orange tail, but we'll go over the whole thing. We'll just set that to the side, let it dry and not touch it, because we'll hope for the best. And now we'll just go over also the head. And as I said, this is anyway one of the prototypes, and I just want to see how the action is after everything added. So I'm not too worried about that, although it does irritate me a little bit, but we'll see. So now we've added some very bright orange still, and as you see, we also, through the curve of the bait, we've got a little bit of overspray, but we won't mind because it's going to be quite colorful and bright underneath the clear coat and scales and everything. So the scales are anyway going to cover up quite a lot still, because we're going to be doing a three-parted scale design, or we'll try again on the blue one. It didn't work as well as on the first one I did. If you haven't seen the video of the first one, I'll pop it up here or there, and you can see what I mean with that. And now I'll let this dry, and once it's done and ready to be wrapped up into our scale mesh, I'll get you guys back. So as you can see, I wrapped everything up, put in some white, and now we're gonna go from the top, very straight angle towards our bait. We don't want to do too much, but that is gonna be the first scale color. Now I will swap over to my second airbrush and add a little bit of darker black towards the front of our lure. So we'll spin this around like that, and I added the black, and now we'll be going at a very steep angle, just like that. We don't want it to be too much, otherwise we end up with some dark spots again. So we'll leave it at that for now. Now I'm gonna flip over the bait once it's dry, do that from the other side before coming in this direction with our pearly white medium. So it's going to be 3 colors again in the scale pattern, and I will do that, and then I'll get you guys back once we unwrap it to shorten down the whole process a little bit, and you anyway know what I'm doing. So now I'm done with the scale pattern, and we'll straight away unwrap the tail, because that is the most worrying part of this lure today. We had a little bit of fails already, and the last time I did it I created a dark spot, so we'll see how that worked out today. Actually a lot better than the last one, so we'll see how it looks under the clear coat itself once it's done. And now we'll just unwrap this part still, and I'll get you guys then back for when we take a look at the eye we're going to be using today, and then we'll take a look at it under the clear coat and see what we're going to be working with and how it actually turns out. So as you see, that is going to be the scales for today's bait. We're still going to add a fin and the eyes in the next steps, and then we'll be ready for the clear coat. So the next step is using one of my 3D printed stencils and just going over with some black, just like that. Now I'll swap my airbrush with one hand. That is not too easy. There we go. Now I'll take off this and go over to the detail side and line it up nicely. And that is how we create our fin. So now I'll do it on the other side, and then we'll glue in the eyes, and we'll be ready for the clear coat. So last step before really getting into the clear coat is going to be adding a little bit of super glue. Today we're going to try and be as gentle as possible because I don't like doing this with gloves, so we're just going to take our time and actually move it in like that. There we go. So that's going to be the eye on this bait. Not as many of the details come out through spraying a lot and doing a very heavy scale pattern on this bait today, but I'm not too worried about that. We're anyway going to play around with this bait a lot once we know that it works well. So now we're just going to add the second eye, then I'll take you guys on a quick look under the clear coat, and then I will see you in the outro. So now I am actually also going to tease a little bit because we are going to build a curing station. So I bought myself some big UV lamps that we're going to be adding into a rotisserie. I'm going to be doing a lot of 3D printing and designing my own. So that's something we're going to do, and we're going to use it for the bait today as well already for the curing process, because it should just go a lot quicker. So now we're just going to take a look at our bait underneath the clear coat and see what we're going to be working with. So if you look at the side, I'm also going to be trying to be very, very thin on the UV coat, not adding too much weight, but that is what we are going to be ending up with. So I'll get you guys back once it's hardened, and then after the outro I'll quickly put in a clip of where I test it once it is completely finished and cured. Hi guys, and welcome back to the outro. As you see, we did something similar to the first one that we actually made, and the joint is free, but it was a little bit of a struggle. So I'm hoping that when I try a spray-on clear coat, that it actually will work a little bit better. But we'll now go and check and see how the action is of this one. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll just drop the footage in, maybe do a little bit of a voiceover that you guys can see how the finished bait actually swims. So I'll take it, run over to a pond, test it, see how the action is, and we'll see each other for next week's bait build. I wish you guys a great one and keep on fishing. Cheers.
So as you guys can see, we are out testing it, and the action is a little bit choppier, and I am using a very thick fly backing that you can actually focus and try and see where the lure is running. So we'll see how this goes. I'm looking forward to see how the actual spray-on clear coat works, but that's going to be the action for today, so I wish you guys a great one.